Alright everybody, welcome back. This is going to be kind of like a knife review, but also a bit of a discussion about self-defense knives and should you have them. I had this conversation with somebody just recently, a good friend of mine, and it was kind of an up and down kind of thing that we've been having. I want to say close to about a year on and off about this and just kind of back ideas and all that stuff. Well, anyways, I'm going to do the review of this knife first, and I'm going to go ahead and discuss about self-defense knives and what my personal thoughts are on them. I haven't really said too much in too many of my videos about this, and I feel that I should touch on that and what I feel is relatable to the purpose of those knives and knives all in general. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Let's talk blades, everybody. That's what we're into. Today I have for you guys a knife I never thought I'd feature on this channel. And not because I didn't want to feature it. Okay, well, that's partially what it is. It's because I didn't want to feature it. But I really do like this knife. This is I want to say it's a group of custom knives. Chavez knives. If you haven't heard of him, look it up. Go ahead and Google it. I don't really know too much about it. All I know is that this guy really makes awesome knives, and I find them very attractive. This is titanium on the backside, and right here is G10. His logo is the skull key right here. And his signature pocket clip that is also titanium is a skull. And I think I just cut something. Oh, it's fine. And I've only carried this knife once, and I think I'm going to carry it just a little bit more. It's got a Tonto tip. It's kind of got like a polished bead blast finish on the blade. And of course, it is the CPM S35VN steel. Very adequate steel, probably moreover so. Very smooth opening. The detent's a little bit tough. The thumb studs on this thing are pretty aggressive in my taste. I'm trying not to open it with my thumb because I actually have a slice right there. If you can't see, it's still healing. I ran my thumb across... and it wasn't on purpose. I was cleaning it. I was wiping it down. I ran my thumb across my Yojimbo, and it actually filleted my thumb open, and I didn't even feel it. I just saw a little bit of blood on the cloth, and I was like, what the heck? And I look at my thumb, and I'm like, no way. I didn't even feel it. It was that sharp. That Yojimbo's no joke. Also, self-defense knife. And, but yeah, so this is a great knife. If you're able to find it, like I said, this is probably something more of a collector's piece, but Chavez makes custom-made knives, and they are quite expensive. This one goes for between $200 and $300. I think I bought this on eBay. I really wanted one, and I pictured it to be a little bit bigger, but it's actually not. It's not as big as I thought it would be. So we'll go ahead and get into the specs of this knife. This is I believe it's called the... I might be wrong, but it's Chavez Knives Titanium Ultramar Redencion Street Titanium Folder. I think it's the CK Reden-07, but I think that's the gray one. Like I said, this one I bought a long time ago, so this is kind of different for me. Very, very awesome knife. I really do like the look of it. I love the feel of it. It's traditional, but also has everything in the right places. So the jimping right up here is quite aggressive, but it's usable. It's very usable. And it's got a decent sized blade. It's not a full 4-inch blade, but I can put my whole hand and grip that just nice enough, and it'll work just fine as a small Tonto in your pocket. So really great stuff. I really do like this knife very much. It's very smooth. The frame lock is pretty precise on there. It even has an over travel stop right there, so that way you cannot pull it any farther than that, and that is fantastic. Like I said, the detent's a little bit aggressive on this thing. It's not coming out no matter what you do. You have to literally push it out, and it's in there pretty tight. So it's really nice. He makes great knives, and there's only so many of these made. So if you're able to find one and you're able to afford it, go ahead and grab it, man. You're not going to regret it. This is a fantastic knife. So anyways, let's see the weight of this, just in case you guys are a little bit curious about this knife in particular. Looking at a 4.71 ounces on the weight. And on the length, I'll go ahead and do that one right now. That's a 3.5 inch blade length with an overall 3 1/8 inch cutting edge. Overall 7.5, 7.58 ish altogether, with a 4 1/4 inch handle. Good stuff. So if you're wondering how wide things are, the blade is at a 3.7. The handle is at a 13.3. So yeah, it's a bit of a chunky handle. If you guys are wondering what I'm carrying right now, I'll go ahead and bust it out. It is none other than the Spyderco Canis. And I really do admire the feel of this knife in the pocket, the deep carry pocket clip, the fact that it's nice and thin. I mean, compared to this guy right here, a 10.7, yeah, that's a big difference. Of course, the blade steel is also going to be a little bit shorter, or a little bit thinner. But this was designed for self-defense. So, and what is it about that? You know, one of my viewers on my channel, one of my supporters actually, is the same person that I'm talking to about self-defense knives. So we'll go ahead and get into that right now. Why? Why? Well, if you have the training for it, then yes, it is a viable tool. My personal thoughts on it, should you have it, well, if you live in a very odd part of town and you don't feel very safe, can't carry a gun, you don't have too much training in martial arts or any type of self-defense, a knife can be a little bit of a helpful thing. But going off on my own natural thought, knives are dangerous, one way or another. They are very, very effective as a cutting tool, but they are also very effective in self-defense if you know how to use it. Should you own one? If you don't want to own a gun, but you need something for self-defense or home defense or whatever, then sure, a knife could do that. But I think it would be backed with a proper amount of training and knowledge as far as how the blade is designed. If the blade is designed for such a task, then good. You want a knife that's all around for EDC tasks and self-defense, which is kind of what I'm always aiming for, then yeah. I'm no knife guru. I'm no blade specialist. I don't know everything there is to know about knives. I'm still learning, and I'm learning new things every day from others who know more than I do. But I can tell you right now with a bit of wisdom, if you ever find yourself in a spot where you need to pull a weapon, please just get out of there. Run as fast as you can. Get out of that place. Get out of that situation. And by all means, avoid that situation. You never want to be in that situation. And that's more than just common sense. That is words of wisdom, because at the end of the day, being in any type of altercation that leads you down any type of violence or any type of scenario where you are going to have to protect yourself is never, ever, ever a situation you want to be in. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be arrested. You're going to be in cuffs. And if you're a law-abiding citizen, you are going to have to owe up to the repercussions. You're going to have to face, your decisions. At least you're gonna pay up for it. And it's not, whether you're in the right or wrong. It's not a situation you want to be in. You want to be able to go home. You want to be able to go to sleep. You want to be able to sleep. And if you're going to sit there and pull a weapon on somebody, especially a gun or a knife, there's consequences to these things. So, in my personal opinion, should you own a self-defense knife? Sure. I believe that we have the right for our own Second Amendments, and I believe that the Second Amendment just doesn't just qualify for firearms. I also believe that it qualifies for anything that is self-defense, even if it's a blade. But there also comes with responsibility and knowing. So please be careful about what you do and what decisions you make if you decide to carry anything that is harmful to yourself or others. So, the same thing applies with firearms. You when you carry something like that, you have a responsibility to it. And the one thing that I've always learned is when I carry a knife that's well-rounded. It has to be a knife that can be a tool, but also be a weapon if I need it. Heaven forbid, and all prayers, hoping that I would never have to pull a knife. But I've heard funny stories. I've heard lots of stories from, back in my old job where I've had Marines come and tell me that a knife has saved their life. When their guns have failed and they got really close, and intimate with somebody in a ditch or in a moat somewhere, they pulled out a knife and it literally got them to be where they can come home. And for that, I have my hats off. Whatever training you have, whatever knowledge you have on using anything that's a weapon, that's good for you. But you also have to know that there's a responsibility behind it, and you have to understand that there are consequences as well. So whether you're protecting yourself or your friends, your family, yeah. You really, really, and if it's a split-second decision, you have to do it, then do it. But my thing is, avoid it. I have a little bit of martial arts training from the past, and I know a little bit on how to use knives. But it doesn't matter how much training you have. It's what you know and what you experience. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to pull a weapon? Have you ever had to use it? And if so, how, what pertained to all of that? What was the consequences to all of that afterwards? Because after you use this on somebody, that's a whole nother story about the mental effect afterwards. And that's kind of my thing on it is you never want to put yourself in a position, and it's not like the movies where you use it and you run and you're the hero, and you're good to go. You can go home and you can sleep well. I don't think that that's always the truth. Law enforcement, I've heard some stories about some guys that had to pull a knife and they're like, dude, I wish I never had to. It's a scary thing. It happens so quick and you don't know what else to do. And your firearm is either gone or missing, stolen, or, you know what I mean? It's just, I have tons of stories. I talk to these people and they always tell me that a weapon isn't something they always want to go for first. It's always your words and your wisdom. And that's one thing that I was told. Know what you're doing, know what you're getting into, and know your way out. And I know that sounds really cheesy, but it's true. If you know that you're in a really sketchy group and you don't belong into, don't be a part of that. If you know that there's a situation going on and it doesn't involve you, don't involve yourself into it. If you can avoid a situation, like there was a night when I was walking home alone in my youth and I was carrying a knife. I wasn't sitting here like, oh, I'm going to walk through that group with my knife in hand. I'm going to be awesome. No, it was the complete opposite. It was, I know those guys are trying to get my attention. It's late at night. They look sketchy. They're probably doing a drug deal. I don't want anything to do with that. So I walked the long way around and they were trying to get my attention. They were like, hey man, hey, what you doing around here, man? You don't belong here. Hey, you better come over here and talk to us, hey. I did everything I could. Like, you know what? They don't know if I got earplugs on. You know, I got earphones on, listening to music. I'm going to avoid them all the best I can. And that's the point. You want to make sure that you practice avoidance more rather than, you know, the use of said weapons. But of course, having that knowledge is also excruciatingly helpful. Because if you ever have to and you're backed in a corner and you're outnumbered and you know that your life is on the line, then you have no other choice but to defend yourself. But if you know that you can avoid the situation, if you have a way out, if you're not backed in the corner, avoid it, run away, call the cops, let the professionals deal with it. You don't want to put yourself in a position where the thing that you find that is so cool to own and carry on you is the thing that got you in trouble, got you in jail, or worse, took the other person's life. So, in my personal opinion, having a self-defense tool, there's a saying, it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that's basically how I see it. I'm not a paranoid person. I'm not sitting here always looking for the next opportunity to harm somebody. I am the complete opposite of that. I want to, you know, I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. I'm always trying to be good and kind to others because that's how I was raised. But also, I've been in situations where, you know, somebody gets in your face or somebody tries to, you always want to talk yourself out of it or just remove yourself from the equation altogether. You never want to stroll down that point where you're the person who's the antagonist or you're the person who's in the wrong for pulling that weapon. You never want to have that scenario play out. That's like the red zone. You always have this, like, in my mind, it's a gauge. You know, it's about yay big. And you're in the cool spot and you're in the red spot. You don't want to ever have that gauge go to the red. You want to be able to have it neutral so that way no one's fighting, no one's arguing, and if there is an argument or a fight, remove yourself. Walk away. It's not worth your time. It's seriously not worth your effort. Just be wise about it. You know, in the back of my mind, yeah, I'm carrying this in my pocket. But am I going to say that this is the thing that I'm going to pull out for self-defense? If it's the only thing I have, yes. Otherwise, I'm pulling out my phone, I'm calling the cops. Or I'm running because I got some comfortable running shoes on. Or or I got a couple of friends. Hey, guys, let's book it. You know what I mean? Like, you never want to have to be the guy that's like, oh, yeah, click. What now? Like, no, don't do that. Don't be like that. It's really stupid. You're putting yourself in a very, very bad situation at that point, and you're going to be the one in cuffs. And even if you're not in the wrong, you're still going to be in cuffs at the end of the day. It's just, you know, and then you're probably going to spend the night in jail, and then you're going to have to pay a fine or a fee, or you're going to have to shell out cash at some point for a taxi to get home. You're putting yourself in so much bad by trying to prove a point, pulling out a weapon because you can, because you have one. Irresponsible, you know, and that's just, to me, in my own personal opinion, is not something you want to put yourself in. And if you have younger viewers or younger people to teach, then you have to tell them the same thing, that everything comes with responsibility. Even if you are a practitioner in martial arts or anything, boxing, jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter. They teach you the same thing. You need to be responsible with what you know. And you can't just sit here and start picking fights. You can't put yourself in that position. That's not what it's meant for. It's meant for self-defense, not going out and, you know, being an idiot defense. So, just things that you need to think about. And a lot of people are like, oh, you know, you're a knife guy. You know, you like them because they're weapons. No, I like them because they look nice. And they're capable of doing things, you know, that is interesting to me. Like, you can cut rope with it. You can. When I was a kid, you know, you don't think about these kind of things. I just find it interesting. I don't see the morbid side of it like a lot of people portray. Like, they're like, oh, you just like it because you can kill someone. I'm like, dude, you know. And I know most of the time they're just kidding, but I don't find offense to it. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, good sir, how dare you. I'm I'm going to tell you how I feel about it if we talk about it. You know, if you're going to ask me what my personal opinion is on firearms, knives, or whatever weapons, I'm going to tell you my personal opinion. But I do find it an artistic value to it, a practical use, because most of the times I do need to cut some zip ties or open a package, open my mail, cut some string off of something or some thread off my shirt. You know what I mean? Like, I always find a use for a knife. I don't know why, but I find myself in a situation where I need a knife. And then comes the style of carry. Like, what am I in for? Do I want something nice looking? Do I want something scary? Do I want something intimidating? Or do I want something like, hey guys, look at how cool this is, and pop it out? I think that's kind of my realm of how I see these things. And I hope that you guys see it the same way. Don't ever try to use these in misuse to try and make yourself look big and bad and tough. In my opinion, you're going to be the guy who's going to be in the wrong, and you will be arrested. But carry these things knowing that they are capable of doing those things that I was discussing earlier, self-defense and harming, but also understand that it comes at a consequence. So please be responsible with what you carry, how you carry them. Abide by the rules in your local area, your state, your city, and do everything you can to school yourself in understanding the responsibilities in carrying a knife, whether it's too long, whether the locking mechanism. You just pay attention to everything that you can. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. Find out what you can and cannot carry if you are interested in carrying a knife. Understand how to use it. Become familiar with it. The one thing that I've learned is play with your knives. Don't really play with them. What I'm trying to say is be familiar with them. Me, personally, through my own idiocity, I do play with my knives. I do cut myself, but that's how I learn. I become familiar with my knife. I'm not advertising that you guys need to do that. I'm not advertising that you guys need to cut yourself to be familiar with your knives. I just do that out of not paying attention. I'll cut something, someone calls my name, and I'm like, huh? And I look and I nick myself in the finger, or I've cut myself. I have a scar right here. You can kind of see it. I was cutting open a box. Someone called my name, and I was holding the box lid down while I was cutting the top off, and I ended up slicing my hand open. And this was at work, and it wasn't a knife. It was a box cutter. But I understood how that works now. So you learn as you go. Sometimes you learn the hard way. And be very careful with these things. These are very dangerous. You know, it doesn't matter how big or small they are. They are capable of doing a lot of damage. Like I said, this was from a box cutter. If this was from a box cutter and it sliced my hand open and that scar is yay big, it's about 1 inch long, then a full-blown knife can do far more damage. You know what I mean? So just be aware. Be very aware of what you're carrying, how you're carrying it, how you're using it. I wish you the best of luck through your collecting. Please, please, please do everything lawfully and mindfully. So within these trying times, be kind, be safe, carry responsibly, slash that like button, stab that subscribe. With a little bit of wisdom today, I only hope that I have quenched some curiosity out there in the knife world. If you are interested in hearing me more on my thoughts on certain ideas pertaining to whatever knife that I've featured, or any knives that I don't have, please leave it in the comment section. I would love to hear them. I read all my comments. They do make my day that much better. And I will see you guys in the next one.